I'm going to talk about the depression treatment plan as an example of kind of how machine learning might work. There are 3 strong evidence-based models of providing treatment for depression that are easily adaptable into an educational model, which is what we need to be able to put them in TAO. Behavioral activation, cognitive behavioral, and acceptance and commitment therapy. And different people respond to those 3 approaches in different ways. Behavioral activation essentially is kind of an outside-in approach, that basically what you're doing is you're changing people's behavior in order to change their thinking and feeling. Most people who are depressed, their life tends to constrict. They stop doing things, they stop engaging in their life, they spend more time sleeping, sitting in front of a television, just withdrawing from life. And the focus in behavioral activation is getting people re-engaged with their life. How do you get them out of bed and doing things? If they used to exercise, how do you get them back to exercise? If they've withdrawn from people, how do you begin to, in a graduated way, re-engage with people in their lives? Because you change their behavior and it changes how they feel. That's, in essence, behavioral activation. Some people love behavioral activation, and some people feel like they're walking around being fake all the time, and they hate it. A cognitive behavioral approach is really an inside out. It's like you're examining the helpful and unhelpful thoughts you have. What are the underlying assumptions or rules that you've made for yourself that are getting in the way, and what are kind of your core beliefs or things that got kind of hardwired in as a result of experiences when you were a kid that actually interfere with your healthy well-being and functioning day to day. So you change people's thinking, and that results in changes in their behavior and changes in their feeling. So some people love cognitive behavioral therapy. A lot of people really respond to it, and other people find it too canned and mechanistic and annoying. The 3rd approach is acceptance and commitment therapy, which is a cousin to the other 2, but takes a very different approach. It has a strong Eastern kind of underpinning in that it's about mindfulness, it's about focusing on your values and what's important to you. You might have unhelpful thoughts, but you just notice them and let them flow through without focusing on them. There's a strong emphasis on mindfulness meditation and a acceptance and commitment therapy approach. Some people love that. They love that mindfulness approach. They love how centered and peaceful they feel when they do it, and it makes an enormous difference. Other people hate it. They find it too touchy-feely, out there, and they don't like it at all. So knowing who's going to respond to which model of treatment for depression is kind of a crapshoot. As a therapist, you might kind of do some interviewing and try to make your best guess, but it's hard to know. And if you start down a path a patient doesn't like, they tend to just drop out. So what TAO will do is introduce core ideas of depression and how depression happens and how depression works, and then also introduce them to different approaches to depression. And then kind of based on how they're responding to the materials that come earlier, then move that person into perhaps a cul-de-sac of modules that take that particular approach. And at any point in that, if what you find is they're not responding the way you would expect, or not really liking it, or not really making progress, you can quickly kind of move them to a different theoretical model and a different set of modules to maximize the likelihood that they'll complete treatment and that they'll benefit.